St. Lucians. This is Openmike, and we are now in the second program for the year. And I've been very fortunate today to get an individual, though quite young, who has quite a bit of experience in the tourism industry. And I want to share some views with her based on her knowledge over the years. She's one that I respected a lot, having met her some 7 years ago when she was holding a very top marketing position at Sandals Provost. And I'm going to get straight to the meat of our discussion right now, and I'm going to pose a couple of questions to Ariane.
Sure.
Ariane, you have worked almost a year and a half as one of the largest all-inclusive hotels in the Caribbean, operated by Sandals. And in St. Lucia, for instance, it is felt by many that the all-inclusive is not a good concept for the islands.
Okay.
But having discussed it with Mr. Stewart over the years, he said he didn't have a problem with the views of most St. Lucians, but by the same token, as an individual, that's the only kind of hotel he understands, and that's what he wants to run. It's his money, and then therefore he's the entrepreneur. I would like you to give St. Lucians a feedback on your views of the all-inclusive hotel, having had the experience with it for a year and a half in Provost.
Okay, thank you, Michael, to welcoming me to your show. There is always pros and cons. I mean, we cannot please everyone. Obviously, Mrs. Stewart chose a certain business model, which work. For working in all-inclusive, it's a nice concept for locals, for employment, for experience of multicultural aspect, of meeting people from around the world that you will not necessarily have a chance to meet except of that. And don't forget that a chain like Sandals, who is well known, who is putting a lot of money into marketing, into promotion, it gives notoriety to your island. So some people back home in Canada don't know St. Lucia, but they heard about it because of people like Sandals, because of hotels all-inclusive, as Club Med before, or as any others.
Right.
So for all these reasons, I think it's great. I'm a natural positive person, and I always think that it's great to meet people.
Yeah.
On the other hand, for sure, it doesn't please everyone. And you have to think about how dependent you can be on all-inclusive. It gives security to clients.
I want to interrupt you for a moment
and
pose
go ahead.
a very important question to you. Over the years, as you know, the cruise ship industry is quite vibrant. And some people have been for the cruise ship, while others haven't. However, the cruise ship directors have always said that the thousands of cruise ship people who come and visit our shores, a certain percentage will always come back because they like it. Now, you take and you weigh that against, not necessarily a Sandals, but let us say a Sandals all-inclusive, that brings people here, and they stay. The Americans stay an average of 6 days, whereas the European stays about 15 days. In your view, a person coming in for 1 day is limited what they can see on an island.
Of course.
And if a person comes in for 6 days or 15 days, whatever the case may be, they have the opportunity to stay on the island and judge the island. In my humble opinion, I feel that with an all-inclusive, which is debatable in some areas, the people who have come down can then make their choice whether they want to come back to an all-inclusive or go to an EP hotel or go to a chalet or something like that. Do you agree with me on that score?
It's a way to experience islands.
Yes.
So an all-inclusive or a cruise ship, from my point of view, is a limited way of visiting an island, of exploring, because you're in the all-inclusive or you're on the cruise ship.
Correct.
If you come for a one day, you cannot say that you saw the islands.
That's right.
But I experienced cruise ship as well as working in all-inclusive. But it gave me the taste of discovering.
Right.
I'm this type of person. I always say to people, be curious.
Yeah.
So on this hand, I think that instead of seeing this as a bad thing, I think we should work with what it is.
Yes.
So you have cruise ship coming,
Yeah.
you have all-inclusive on your island.
Yeah.
So why not working
deal with
from
both,
it?
correct, yeah.
Deal with both,
Mhm.
use it, and be creative to find solution as improving the communication, improving the tours, offering. I was seeing just yesterday people on the beach
Yeah.
selling nice stuff, artists.
Yeah.
I told them you should go and talk to the gift shop manager of these hotels,
Yeah.
or to talk to the manager of a cruise ship, so
Yeah.
you can get communication to the
You know,
world.
you've raised a very good point, because it is a point that I have raised over and over. You've seen it for yourself. Although you saw some people doing some stuff locally, you also saw a lot of stuff being imported,
Yeah.
and which defeats the purpose of promoting the island. And I have said time and time again that there should be some sort of schools, some vocational schools, whereby these people who are good at what they're doing can be made better by also getting certain gadgets. A man doing a carving on the beach would probably take him, say for argument's sake, he does 2 in a day. Okay, it becomes expensive because there's a time factor involved. Whereas if you get the right gadgets to work, and he can do 5 in a day, it improves.
I hear the businessman in you talking, but the artists
Yes.
are not business people.
That's the thing.
And
no, but governments have to guide them, because you
here's
have
the
so much
point.
unemployment on the island, and these are areas that you can focus on.
So why not taking this as a suggestions to the government and the people in
Yeah.
charge or with authority
Yeah.
to say, let's put the strengths of people
Yeah.
together and collaborate
That's right.
to decrease the unemployment
Correct.
and to offer to the world, because you already have visitors.
That's right.
So you cannot do without.
Yeah.
And instead of focusing on negative side, go on the positive one and say, look, we already have these guys.
Right.
In
What can
different-
we do to help them?
What can
now,
we do?
I know you recently visited Barbados,
Yep.
and you have seen what Sandals has just done there at the Sandals Casuarina.
True.
Now, just to fill you in, those projects were actually earmarked for St. Lucia, because Sandals purchased some 21 acres of land on the causeway to do 400-room beaches,
Okay.
and also a 16-acre lot to do overwater suites. But the present administration, and I may say the past administration also, were delinquent, in my opinion, in not seeing the bigger picture by giving the necessary concessions to allow them to go. And I've said repeatedly that our competition is not only in St. Lucia, our competition is the Dominican Republic, Mexico. You have traveled a lot,
Yeah.
and you know what I'm talking about. And of course the cruise ships.
Yep.
So therefore, if you want your people to work, you have to provide the employment. Now, you have worked in Jamaica, you have visited St. Lucia, and you recently visited Barbados. What can you say to the St. Lucian public today, based on what you know a bit of St. Lucia, and you saw a hotel where you didn't know the hotel before, but you saw the refined product a couple of days ago? What was your take by what you saw?
Money can transform the world. So of course, about what, $60 million of investment into that hotel
it was bought for 40 million, and he spent 60 million, so 100 million.
in Barbados.
Yes.
So coming back in St. Lucia, I don't think that you should always see other islands as competitors. I'm really like a transparent, and I prefer to talk about collaboration.
Yes.
So what about, there is probably a reason why the government didn't allow Mr. Stewart to invest money into this beaches projects and stuff. But you have to have a vision. So the question is, do they have a vision of what they want for St. Lucia? Personally, I love this island because it's different. Yeah, it's volcanic island, like with volcanoes as others, but the pitons and all the greens and the nice mountains you have. A lot of people are interested in trekking today, hiking, and it's very popular back home. In Canada, there is some groups going. And if you get interest to this, why not going and interest people to what you have? You cannot work with what you don't have, and the other islands are closed.
The only problem that we have, Ariane, is that what you're saying is actually, you are quite correct. But right now on the island, it is said, I don't have the statistics before me, that among the youth there's 40% unemployment.
Wow.
And 25% otherwise, okay? Now, although what you said, it can be done, because your point is well taken, because we can focus on the number of tours that we do. And we do have a number of tours, the hiking you speak of, that's being done. But you know, when you have big quantities of people, for instance, I'm not, now this is not a sales pitch for sandals.
No.
As far as I'm concerned, it can be for anybody, okay?
Exactly.
But if those projects were allowed to have gone ahead, you're looking at 800 people would have been employed.
Mm-hmm.
And the statistics say that for every one person you employ, they feed 4 people. But
Okay.
by the same token, I want to be fair with the present administration, and I want to give them good marks for what they have done. We had the Club St. Lucia,
Yep.
which was, it served its purpose for the last 15, 20 years. It became extremely tired. And there's a company from Canada, which is called Blue Diamond.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess you've heard of them.
Yep.
Yeah, and they have bought the property, and I will show it to you at some point. And starting April this year or May, they're going to knock down all the chalets, the small, and they're going to put up 700 rooms. They probably will go to 3-4 stories. They also own a fleet of 40 jets, and they have already been coming here.
Okay.
So there are some, some neutralizing factors to Sandals not being here. But by the same token, being a good friend of Mr. Stewart and having discussed the economics of tourism with him, he keeps on telling me that nobody is going to take an island seriously tourism-wise under 9,000 to 10,000 rooms. Even in Barbados, I was shocked to find out they only had 6,000 rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And he was telling the Prime Minister of Barbados that Barbados really needs 15,000 rooms, I mean, I was in Barbados yesterday, and when I took off, I actually checked 13 jets on the ground. And out of the 13 jets, 3 were owned by Thomson, which is only one company in England alone. So they have had a very good season, So can I have your comments on that?
What comes to my mind when I hear you talking, it's the number of rooms.
Yes.
Back home, all my network in travel since the past 10 years, what they often tell me is they need to have the capacity to welcome the people. If we talk about, let's say, Transat or Air Canada vacations, they're coming down to the islands and they're dealing with you guys to promote and to book your rooms, your hotels. But if you don't have enough rooms,
they're not going to come.
They're not going to, no, because if they don't have enough to offer.
And not only that, and when you have insufficient rooms, the price of travel remains high because you're dealing with there's no critical mass.
Exactly. So I think seriously that St. Lucia has to focus on some market and maybe new market. In Canada, I'm from the French part.
Right.
And unfortunately, not a lot of you guys are promoting in French. So it's very a sensitive question. If you talk to me in my first language, I'm going to probably get more interest in you because I understand.
Right.
And we're thinking that everybody speak English. I do speak English because I worked in the tourism industry and I worked in the islands in English. But when I was young at school, I was not speaking English at all.
Okay.
So everybody from outside Montreal speak pretty much only French. So why not looking at different market, maybe smaller?
Yeah.
But if you focus on these markets, why not? It will make a difference. And St. Lucia is very close to Martinique, so you know about French.
Yeah, well, that is true. As we do enjoy a fair amount of tourists from, not only tourists, but French locals, because remember, Martinique is a very affluent island, okay? It's connected, it's a department of France, and as a matter of fact, again, I want to say congratulations to the government for what they have just done by allowing Martinique to become a kind of an OECS member. This is great news because I know that there are several limitations because for one, I don't think there will be anything like free travel as quickly as possible, because what you would find if that was allowed, you'd find a bunch of St. Lucians wanting to go and work in Martinique right away. But what we need to do is to start getting the people over here and cementing the relationship, which has been existent for a long time, but then bringing it to fruition. This is Openmike. We have just completed the first segment of our program. We'll be right back.